To order on September 3rd, 2019. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Gata,
Present.
Vice Chair Palafis,
Present.
Trustee Newell, Trustee Mills,
Present.
Trustee Stanton,
Present.
Trustee Arnett,
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you, and we have a quorum. Under new business, we have two items. Item number 1, request approval of an ordinance amending Section 6-2-1-Hotel Echo -11-1401 of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code, pedestrian solicitations.
So moved.
Doug, would you like to enlighten us about this?
Yes, so this is in response to a lawsuit that was filed on August 20th, not against the Village of Hoffman Estates, but against the Village of Downers Grove and the state of Illinois in regards to an ordinance that they have on the books that is in conformity with a state statute which prohibits solicitation on the roadways by anyone other than those that are registered nonprofits. And the ACLU is challenging, as I said, Downers Grove and the state on that, and they've been successful in other states across the country challenging similar ordinances based on the fact that they take the position that these are not content-neutral prohibitions in that they're aimed at restricting panhandling on the roadways, but at the same time, they allow charities to be on the roadways asking for donations. So the ACLU takes the position that that's a violation of the First Amendment. We reviewed some of the case law and think their arguments have some merit. And I spoke with Chief, and I think he would say that we've never had a violation or a ticket written under this ordinance. So at this time, we're just recommending that we take it off the books to avoid any sort of question of liability that may arise and avoid a lawsuit against ourselves, since our ordinance is very much similar to the Downers Grove one. And that's the recommendation.
Any questions of the board? Mayor?
Do we know what the ACLU is trying to accomplish with that? They just want to end panhandling in general, or let everybody panhandle on roadways?
They're making a concerted effort to decriminalize panhandling, and so initially, I believe some of their efforts were aimed at panhandling on sidewalks and stuff. The village has no provisions that would cause any concern for that. But they've now expanded to panhandling on the roadways. And as I said, some of the case law has held that the medians are public forums, and therefore they're entitled to a heightened constitutional scrutiny when it comes to restricting access to them. And so if the board wishes to impose some restrictions, we could explore that, but they would have to be very narrowly tailored and take into consideration the speed of the roadway, the time of day, the conditions of the weather, all sorts of things, rather than a blanket prohibition.
So anytime the ACLU sues, we're going to repeal ordinances? Is that sort of what we're making a statement on here today?
I would not agree with that. I believe just based on the merits of some of the things they're offering in this lawsuit, it'd be best to avoid a lawsuit.
Trustee Falafis? Oh, I'm sorry, Corporate Counsel, would you wanted to?
Just to add to what Mr. Lesotho was saying, and in answering to the mayor's question, no. However, if the lawsuit does appear to have merit, and if the issues that are being brought up in the lawsuit might indicate that there's a better way to draft the language, then yes, we probably would recommend that the village take corrective action at an earlier time. But just because the village is sued, no, that doesn't mean that we automatically go for an ordinance. But in this particular case, and looking at other precedent, legal precedent, it appears as if the claims being raised by the American Civil Liberties Union probably have merit.
So does this mean anybody can go in the roadways and solicit, or nobody can?
Right now, by repealing this, it means that we fall back to the state law that basically says nobody can.
I'm actually in favor of that. I think it's dangerous to
Yeah.
people out there.
Am I right on that, or? is the
I
state-
mean, the village would not be regulating it. However, the state law that is being challenged is still in effect. And the state law has a blanket prohibition on solicitation in the roadways. However, there is an exception that if a municipality has an ordinance that expressly authorizes nonprofits to solicit charitable donations, then the state takes a step back. So that's one of the caveats in repealing the village ordinance. The state's trigger would be a broad prohibition on solicitation by anyone in the roadway, but that's the state law, not the village ordinance.
And we're not going to enforce the state law. Is that my understanding? Because
That,
if we enforce the state law, we're going to be sued.
No.
No what?
State law, we should not, well, you never know when you're going to get sued or not, but the state law has just a blanket prohibition, which means nobody should be soliciting and standing on the highway for that purpose.
But if
We
someone
would
does, we're not going to arrest them or ticket them if somebody does it, because we're not doing anything on it.
That is a decision to be made by the administration and the police department regarding enforcement of law. I don't think that is high on the police department's list. State police, sheriff's police, if they wish, could come in and enforce it. But I don't have an answer specifically for the enforcement provisions. However, it would not be the ordinance that just is a blanket saying you can't do it is not a discriminatory ordinance that favors one group over another. Everybody is prohibited from soliciting. It's only when you get into a regulation that favors one group over another group that you run into the problems, which is exactly what the Civil Liberties Union is challenging. They're challenging ordinances where one group is favored over another.
But the police could potentially enforce the state law. Or are we going to tell the police not to enforce the state law? I'm very confused by this whole situation, because the state law says you can't do it, but we aren't going to enforce the state law? We're just going to ignore the state law?
I'm gonna defer to administration.
Thank you, Counselor. If the committee would like to put have staff go back and look at a policy, we can bring something back that we can look at. Like Doug had talked about, we can put some restrictions to the ordinance, but they have to be very specific, and you have to stay away from the issues that Mr. Jenner was just talking about. But if you want us to put something together, bring it back to a future agenda, even if it's just policy on how we're going to handle enforcement of it. Let staff go back and we can take a look at something that we can bring back to committee.
I kind of like the blanket, nobody can do it. Personally, I like that.
That's what
But-
you'd have, yeah.
No, we don't have
But
that.
we're not going to enforce the state law, or maybe the police chief wakes up one day and he decides, let's enforce the state law today. I mean, this whole argument seems to be ludicrous all the way around.
I'm not going to comment on the procedure. However, we do see this every day when the federal government, it's a federal offense to have marijuana. It's a federal offense to sell marijuana. Many states have legalized it, and it's being done in many states, and it's a federal offense, and the federal government has chose not to put that high on their enforcement
It's
proceedings.
nullification.
And so what they've done is they have just, the law is on the books, but it's not being enforced. I would say if we were really to go through all of the laws that are on the books, there's quite a few that aren't enforced. However, that would be strictly a matter regarding the policy of the police department. I'm sure there are many things that technically probably violate a lot of the village's ordinances and state laws that are probably passed over because there's more important things to be doing with the officer's time and enforcing the law on matters that are more serious. That's just something that happens all the time. However, to answer the question is if this particular section is repealed and the state law stands, the only law in Hoffman Estates regulating pedestrian solicitation would be the state law, which prohibits it across the board.
Trustee Falafis, you had something?
Well, I had a question, but now I have a comment and a question. I wouldn't think that our departments wouldn't enforce this any different than the speed limit. If it's state law, it's state law, right? So that's my comment.
Well, okay.
The question is really, don't we regulate this by permit? You know, where a non-for-profit will,
But that will go away. With the repeal
So-
of this ordinance, that would go away.
but the permit at least allows us to have some control of who's there and who's not.
In my conversations with police department, there's an informal, I don't even know if they consider it a permit so much as a calendaring system where some nonprofits would call and say, hey, we want to come out this weekend. Is there anyone going to be out there? And they'll slot them down just so there's not congestion.
Okay.
That's my understanding, though.
So then we really don't have a permit, official permit process that we.
That there is a
enforce.
charge for, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
So,
There is no.
I mean, I agree with the mayor. In the end, I agree, but. Okay.
It's
just an
approval.
For the profits, there is a charge?
No,
Okay, so nobody gets charged.
not per street solicitation.
All right.
Door to door, yes. Street, no.
Honestly, I think we're getting into this a little early. I would rather see us table this, wait to see what happens. We're not being sued. Why are we jumping into this right away? I would put it on hold.
So,
Trustee Mills?
Well, I was curious to see if we've started talking with other towns in the area. Do other towns also have this ordinance that we have on the books? And how are they reacting? I mean, are we, and I kind of agree with Trustee Stanton, are we jumping the gun a little bit too quickly?
I did not do an exhaustive search of the towns or contact any of them.
I don't want you to do an exhaustive one, but I mean, just at any at all, have we checked around?
That is a good point, and we can take a look at it. But I think what Doug had said in the beginning was, when legal looked at our ordinance compared to what was happening in Downers Grove, it's identical. We have some exposure there if they decide they want to come over here and sue us. We'd have the exact same
And
situation.
I
So
appreciate-
there's some liability there.
Yeah, and I can appreciate you trying to make sure that we are covered in this too, because, you know, I can see where it would catch your attention immediately if it's that similar. But in the case of Downers Grove, maybe they were enforcing it so much that this is why ACLU went after them. If we're not,
I can confirm that Downers Grove did enforce it at least at one point, and then
yeah, you
according.
wonder why they caught the attention of ACLU.
What caught my attention was in the article, Downers Grove seemed to have backed down from their enforcement of that ordinance, and they thought that that had kind of smoothed things over, and so this lawsuit hit them out of nowhere, and that was part of it, and so there, yeah.
I guess it'd be interesting to see how many other towns right around us even have this ordinance.
If it's the decision of the committee to go ahead and table it, that's fine, because that will give us time to staff to be able to go back and look at what other towns are doing and see how similar this ordinance is to the other communities as well.
Corporate counsel?
Yeah. To delay it or put it off is fine. However, I would like to make one comment regarding as to why this has been brought before the village board by the legal department. It's not because Downers Grove was being sued. It's not because we're either for or against the solicitation. It's not because the village is afraid of being sued when properly enacting its legislation. It's that when the legal department reviewed our ordinance and existing legal precedent, cases that have already been decided, it was our judgment that our ordinance probably would not stand a challenge, meaning our ordinance, we determined, was probably lacking in constitutional stature.
That wasn't in Illinois, though, was it?
That is why it was brought here, not because of any fears, not because of what somebody else might be doing or not be doing. It's because we evaluated it standing on its own. We looked at prior case law and decided that it did not conform, and the right thing to do would be to repeal an ordinance that did not meet constitutional muster.
Well, that's fine, but that was not the way it was presented to us.
That's why
Problem.
and I apologize for that, but that's why I wanted to make this statement.
The case law you're talking about, it's not Illinois case law, though, is it? It's other jurisdictions, other states.
Yeah, but it's interpreting the federal constitution.
Yeah, I would rather see what happens on this.
Well, and the thing is, though, eventually it's going to be coming up anyways. We do have it presented tonight, so yes, we will vote on it tonight to see if we're going to repeal it or not.
If you get a
Anybody
motion.
else have anything to say?
We don't have a motion on it.
I didn't ask for one yet.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, any questions from the audience? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So are we taking a motion to table so staff can learn more about it?
Not to table, to vote on, to see about repealing it tonight.
Oh.
I still need a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion.
All right, I need a second.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Do we need to call the roll, or can I just ask for,
It's up to you, you're the chair.
I'd like a roll call, please.
Chairperson Gata,
Yes?
or Vice Chair Palafis,
I'm going to say no because I'd like our staff to look into it a little more.
Trustee Mills,
No.
Trustee Stanton,
Nay.
Trustee Arnett,
No.
Mayor McLeod.
No.
Well, I guess we have it on that, then.
I would like to make a motion that this be tabled for further review by staff and brought back at a later meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Under new business, request approval to waive formal bidding and award the contract for purchase of 2019 aluminum 12-foot walk-around responder body rescue vehicle to Maintainer Corporation of Iowa, Selden, Iowa, in an amount not to exceed $185,000. I
So
need a
moved.
motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Chief, would you like to add anything to that?
This purchase is in line with the concept that was brought forward through the capital improvement mid-year review in July, and then funded again, or it was approved
Microphone.
in August, I'm sorry, was approved for funding in, at the August 19th meeting. This is the rapid response vehicle that we placed in service at Fire Station 22 to help reduce some of the workload on the larger vehicles, specifically Tower 22.
Oh, okay. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
President's report?
I'll wait for the board meeting.
Okay, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to call the Meeting of September 3rd, 2019, the first meeting of the month of September. To order, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present?
Trustee Newell. Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present. Trustee Arnett, you want to lead us in the pledge? Can everybody please rise?
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Newell has an excused absence, and everybody on the board here is familiar why. Move on to item number 3, recognition of the audience. Does anybody in the audience want to come forward and speak? Going once, twice, 3 times, we're done. I'd like to note for the record, this meeting is being telecast live and will be rebroadcast over our cable channel in the days to come. Move on to item number 4, approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2019 meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
So motion is second. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it, motion carried. We have consent agenda. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. The items on the consent agenda are A, approval of the agenda, B, approval of the schedule of bills for September 3rd, 2019, the amount of $1,639,004.78, and C, request board approval of an ordinance granting a variation to premises at 660 Perry Lane. We do have a motion and a second. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We'll move on to President's Report. We have some proclamations, I believe, Madam Clerk?
I have the first. It's quite an honor. Office of the Mayor Proclamation, whereas exemplary public service employment is of vital importance in assuring the provision of services directed towards the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of any community, and whereas the police department has upon its roster an individual who should be commended for assisting said department in faithfully serving the citizens of this community, and whereas length of service coupled with continued training and positive attitude towards assigned job tasks make a profile of this dedicated employee. And whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates, on behalf of its citizens, desire to acknowledge its indebtedness and gratitude for 20 years of dedication and proficiency in the aforementioned department, be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim Saturday, September 7, 2019, as Joseph Goldblick Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all employees and citizens of the village to join us in expressing gratitude and appreciation to this employee who may have assisted them with outstanding service.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. We appreciate the great job Joe has done for us over many, many years. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it, motion carried. Is Joe back there? Oh, Ted's back there, yeah. There's another Joe back there. That's the next Joe. Here, Ted. Okay, who's got the next one?
I do. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas exemplary public service employment is of vital importance in assuring provision of services directed toward the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of any community, and whereas the police department has upon its roster an individual who should be commended for assisting said department in faithfully serving the citizens of this community, and whereas length of service coupled with continued training and positive attitude toward assigned job tasks make a profile of this dedicated employee, and whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates, on behalf of its citizens, desires to acknowledge its indebtedness and gratitude for 20 years of dedication and proficiency in the aforementioned department. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims Saturday, September 7th, 2019 as Joseph Crucial Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all employees and citizens of the village to join us in expressing gratitude and appreciation to this employee who may have assisted them with outstanding service.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second. We very much appreciate the great job Joe has done. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. Joe, come on up, bring your family.
Congratulations, Joe. Absolutely. Congratulations also.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you and to you.
Congratulations.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
Want to introduce everybody, Joe?
Sure, it's my daughter Alyssa, my son Danny, and my girlfriend Rayanne.
Very nice. Can you come up here? We'll get a picture. Everybody, come on up. Man in the middle. Thanks, Joe. Who's got the next one?
I do. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time to share resources and stories in an effort to shield light on this highly taboo, stigmatized topic. We use this month to reach out to those affected by suicide, raise awareness, and connect individuals with suicidal treatment of services. It is also important to ensure that individuals, friends, and families have access to the resources they need to discuss suicide prevention. And whereas suicide thoughts, much like mental health conditions, can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, or background. In fact, suicide is often the result of an untreated mental health condition. Suicidal thoughts, although common, should not be considered normal and often indicate more serious issues. Whereas in 2016 alone, nearly 45,000 individuals died by suicide, leaving behind their family, friends, members to navigate the tragedy of the loss. In many cases, friends and families affected by a suicide loss, often called suicide loss survivors, are left in the dark. Too often, the feelings of shame and stigma prevented them from talking openly. And whereas, while suicide prevention is important to address year-round, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month provides a dedicated time to come together with collective passion and strength around a difficult topic. The truth is that we can all benefit from honest conversations with mentally health conditions and suicide, because just one conversation can change a life. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims September 2019 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all residents and businesses of Hoffman Estates and surrounding suburb to join in this observance.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
This motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. Dr. Savidra, are you back there? Yes, I see you. Thank you. Thanks for the great work that your organization does. Who's got the next one?
I do.
Read it, Grandpa.
Yeah, okay, Grandpa. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas on Sunday, September 8th, National Grandparents' Day, we honor those who have helped shape the character of our nation, and we thank these role models for their immeasurable acts of love, care, and understanding. And whereas American families have been guided and strengthened by the support of devoted grandparents, these mentors have a special place in our homes and communities. They ensure stories and traditions of our heritage are passed down through generations. And whereas grandparents witness great milestones in the lives of their children and grandchildren, they celebrate our early triumphs, console us when we are distressed, and cultivate our dreams. And whereas grandparents help ensure their cultural traditions and timeless values are passed on to future generations. Whether they are our own or surrogate grandparents who fill some of the gaps in our mobile society, our grandparents also provide our society a link to our national heritage and traditions. And whereas Grandparents' National Grandparents' Day presents a chance to show our profound appreciation and respect for the central roles that family elders play in our lives, The legacy of these selfless caregivers is not only reflected in the principles and sense of purpose they inspire in their loved ones, but also in their unique ability to reach across ages and to enrich the lives of generations of Americans. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims Sunday, September 8th, 2019, as National Grandparents' Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urges all residents and businesses of Hoffman Estates to join in its observance.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
A second.
This motion is second. Nothing beats being a grandparent. Being a parent was fun, but grandparenting is way more fun. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. You make sure that's posted, Mr. O'Malley? I do have an appointment, Jody Dodson for the Platts Concert Commission.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion a second, getting on just in time to work the event.
She's the Park District person. and,
Great.
Does a great job.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. One resignation, Samuel Jackson from the Platts Concert Commission. Chair will
So
accept the
moved
motion.
with results.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. The village family mourns the passing of Jerry Newell, the beloved husband of trustee Anna Newell. Jerry was quite a guy. We all interacted with him a lot, and he was a real rock, and the staff people can close their eyes, or close their ears, because Jerry drove us around when we were campaigning. He was great. He knew not to freelance. He'd tell you where to go and when to do it, and we all listened because he had it organized. I'm sure that Generals MacArthur, Eisenhower would have loved to have them on the staff during World War II because he was very well organized. And he didn't really care who was the mayor or who wasn't the mayor. The mayor just was given his orders. You go walk that block and you do it now. And it worked. That's why we're all sitting up here, so. Yeah, he give you longer blocks if you complain, so. Heart goes out to Anna. I mean, he adored Anna and their children, and it's a great loss for the community, and our prayers are with Anna and the family. A couple things going on. We've got the Commission for People with Disabilities welcomes all people aged 14 and older with disabilities to join them for the season's first Friday event at the Village Hall this Friday, September 6th. The event will feature games, socializing, and food for purchase. The event is free to attend and starts at 6:30 p.m. For details, call 847-781-4850. And Trustee Palafis, can you tell your wife that actually a lady stopped me when I was walking the parade route in Schaumburg for Septemberfest and said, "Thank you guys for having the first Friday. It's just a wonderful, wonderful event. A great break for the parents and great socializing for the people involved." And the Platts Concert German Fest is coming up. Do you want to say something about that, Trustee Platts?
I actually have a display.
All right.
Get the wrinkles out. This is our 14th year.
Wow.
Given that the weather is trending to be nice, we're actually more afraid that we're going to have crowds at a blowout proportion. So just based on what the Hideaway's done this summer with good weather, it's just a super fun event. We couldn't have done it, without the commissioners, our staff, Rachel, Ryan, Mark, Jeremy, everybody involved. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we just thank everybody up here for their support. Come out, tap kegs, throw a cold one back, have something to eat. It'll be a good
Looking
time.
forward to it. You and Gail Vandenberg do a great job sharing that. And people on the commission, thank you very much. Also, we have Fire Station Open House, Firemen at Station 24. Will be on hand to give tours and answer questions this Saturday, September 7th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. The event will feature a Flight for Life helicopter, Jaws of Life demonstration. That's fun, you rip a car apart. That's a blast. Fire pole rides, obstacle course, a bone marrow drive, and much more. Station 24 is located at 5775 Beacon Point Drive. For more information, call 847-843-4825. We haven't met in a while, so we do have some things that's transpired in the last couple of weeks. We had our Senior Appreciation Day luncheon on Tuesday, August 20th, and The Senior Commission did a great job, as they always do, and the people who showed up for the event really appreciated it. We had a successful business after hours at Main Event on Wednesday, the 21st. And on Thursday, the 22nd, we had the Siemens Veterans Event at Siemens Health and Ears on Barrington Road. It was a really good event, very moving. And we had the Jefferson School Picnic up north at Thomas Jefferson School, back-to-school picnic. And on the 23rd, Whiteley School had their school picnic on Friday, the 23rd. On the 24th, we had 2 block parties, one on Glendale and one on Sturbridge. And on the 27th, Commissioner Kevin Morrison, the 15th District County Commissioner, had his town hall here at Village Hall, and Trustee Stanton and I were able to be there. On Wednesday, the 28th, they had a great lunch with Mayor Al Larson and Mayor Rod Craig. The old band back together again. It's good to see Al. He's doing well. And we had Wine Wednesday later that evening. And also the Citizens Fire Academy first night of class out at Station 24 that Trustee Arnett was able to come to also. And we had the inaugural Women in Scouting Awards and at the Garlands in Barrington later that night, where Mayor Karen Darch was honored by the Scouters. And on the 29th, we had our pension conference call, pension fairness conference call. And on Saturday, I did stop by Nadia's house on East Berkeley. She's a wonderful young lady who worked at Hugs and Mugs, and she passed away, unfortunately, but she had a really infectious smile that just lit up the room, and everybody was always very happy to see her. And tonight we had our Celtic Fest Commission meeting, and Trustee Mills and Arnett and Clerk Romanoff had their 60th anniversary commission. Any of you guys want to mention something about what's going on with that now?
Well, everything is well under control and moving ahead for our event on September 21st. We're going to have a very busy month of September in this town. We do still have a couple of the cornhole bag games that are available for residents to purchase to decorate. And we have a couple left. The deadline for paying to decorate them is this Friday, the 6th. If you haven't picked it up by that day, you're out of luck. And they do have to be decorated and back here at Village Hall by the following Friday, the 13th. So if anyone is still interested, I think I heard we have 5 or 6 left. Let's make sure we get those all sold and decorated and ready for our auction on the 21st. And as I said, everything's moving along great. We're getting more and more prizes donated for our door prizes that weekend, and the kids will have a ball. That's it.
And the money raised by selling the bags games goes to the
That
health
goes to Hoffman Estates Self-Help Fund, which is our own, more or less, foundation to help residents in need in our town.
Great, thank you very much. I know you're all working very hard on that. Who at the trustee comments? Trustee Arnett.
Thank you. I also attended the block parties for David Hefner and Jessica Sweet. Also on the 28th, did attend the first CFA class for this semester. And then on 9/2, I did attend the Septemberfest parade in Schaumburg. Turned out to be a very nice day, great crowd. And then also tonight with the 60th committee meeting. That's all I have.
Okay, Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. On the 20th, I was able to attend the Senior Appreciation Day luncheon here, sponsored by our Commission for Senior Citizens, and as always, they did a wonderful job. On the 24th, I attended the 2 block parties, the one on Glendale and also the one on West Sturbridge. On the 27th, the mayor and I, as he mentioned, were here for the Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison's town hall meeting. And on the 2nd, I did walk on behalf of our village in the village of Schaumburg's Septemberfest parade. And today, my wife and I attended the wake for Jerry Newell, and our condolences, obviously, to Anna Newell and her family. And that's it.
Thank you. That was probably the nicest weather we've ever had on a parade on
Yeah, it wasn't too
Labor
hot,
Day
and
in
it certainly wasn't
Schaumburg,
cold either.
It was very nice. Enjoyed it. Trustee Mills.
Thank you. On the 20th of August, also was in attendance at the Senior Commission's luncheon. It was a Senior Appreciation Day, and I think all the seniors that did make it that day after the rainstorm were enjoying a very nice donated lunch for them. On the 21st, I attended Northwest Mosquito Abatement District's monthly meeting, and happy to report, I guess mosquito counts, knock wood, have been very low this summer, one of the lowest on record that we have, and also a very low recording of West Nile virus in this area, which is always good to see. The 24th, I was able to make it to the Glendale Block Party, couldn't get to the second one. As we said, tonight was our 60th Anniversary Committee meeting, and all is going well, and definitely sincere condolences to Anna Newell and her family on the loss of a very, very important and strong member of our community, Jerry Newell. He will be missed by everyone. That's
Thank
it.
you. Trustee Palafis.
I just wanted to add a couple of things. I was at some of those block parties as well. This summer was a great summer for block parties. I can't think of a single one that got canceled, and they were all really well attended. A lot of fun. I just want to add a plug for the fire department open houses. And can we get Flight for Life for Station 23? Just one day? Oh, can we get them to take off and land at the Plots concert? That'd be even cooler. But those open houses are great. I took my son Caleb, who still wants to know why I don't do the retro sprinkler for our house. And being the tallest one, he also walks around and tests all the fire detectors, the smoke detectors. So those things are great and well attended. Again, about Plots concert, it's going to be a blast. We raised a record amount of sponsorships this year. We're just under 10 grand, which is really great and helps us to offset our expenses, which is good. You know, we don't want to overspend. I agree, Septemberfest was awesome. Mayor, you're right, the weather was great and probably one of the best in recent memory that I can remember. And the crowds were fantastic. I can't believe how many people were there. And I walked back to meet up with Michelle and the boys, and I think that was the hottest part of the walk. It was actually heading back because it peaked out at about 85 that day, and it was just a nice day all around. And that's all for me.
Okay, Trustee Gata.
There we go. Well, I missed all of these things that you folks were on because I was attending my great-grandson's first birthday, all right? And this was in Florida. So you were reading about Grandpa's Day, right? Or Grandparents' Day. They should have said Great-Grandparents' Day also, right? Instead of just the one. But anyways, yes, and that was enjoyable for that. But I did attend one, and that was on Tuesday, August 20th, at the Senior Appreciation Dinner Luncheon, as almost everybody else here, right here at Village Hall. And again, thank you to Chairperson Lillian and her staff for doing an outstanding job for our citizens in this community. All right, hats off to them. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Gata. We'll move on to 6C, Village Manager's Report.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay, 6D, Village Clerk's Report.
During the month of August, we processed 58 passports and 156 FOIAs came through, so we're up in FOIAs again. And also September 11th, next week, what is it, Thursday? Wednesday. We have our September 11th program in the back of the building. Starts at 5 o'clock. Hopefully you guys can join us.
Thank you. Move on to committee reports, Planning, Building, and Zoning. Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. On September 9th, we'll meet right here, and we'll have a roll call. After that, we'll have approval of the minutes of August 5th, 2019, and then August 19th special meeting. We have one item under new business, and that's discussion regarding regulations to consider the raising or keeping of chickens on residential property within the village. That should be very interesting. And then we have our reports for information only. First is a Planning Division monthly report, 2 is Code Enforcement Division monthly report, and 3 is Economic Development and Tourism monthly report. We then have a President's report. We have nothing in other or items in review, and then we will adjourn.
Thank you, Trustee Stanton. General Administration Personnel, Trustee Arnett.
Thank you. Immediately following the Planning, Building, and Zoning, we will call to order the General Administration and Personnel Committee for Village of Hoffman Estates on September 9th, 2019. We will begin with a roll call to establish quorum, and then we'll move into the approval of minutes for August 5th, 2019. We have no new business items, so we'll go into reports for information only. Number 1 will be the Cable TV Monthly Report. Number 2 would be the Human Resources Management Monthly Report. Number 3 is the Legislative Operations and Outreach Monthly Report, followed by the President's Report, and anything in other or items in review, and then we will call for an adjournment.
Thank you. Transportation, Road Improvement, Trustee Mills.
Transportation and Road Improvement Committee will also meet next Monday, September 9th, as we resume our regular weekly meetings. We will have roll call to again establish quorum, approval of minutes from August 5th. New business, number 1, request approval of an agreement with Wetlands Mitigation of Illinois, LLC, for wetland mitigation credits for the Shoe Factory Road Bicycle Path Project. Number 2, we have a request authorization to award contract for the 2019 Preventative Maintenance Project. The bid opening was to be held today. Under reports for information only is Transportation Division Monthly Report. If the president has anything else to report, he'll have that opportunity. And under items in review, we do have discussion of review of Wisconsin Central Limited's proposed railroad track extension between Shoe Factory Road and Spalding Road, and we have no set date yet to discuss that. And then we will look for a motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on to 7, Planning and Zoning Commission Report. Chairperson Gomes, how are you?
The items are all continued from the August 19th meeting of the trustees. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by 2595 West Gulf LLC owner for preliminary and final site plan approval in accordance with Section 10-2-I-E for the construction of a retail building, variation to Section 9-8-2-D-6, to allow a rear yard setback of 12.28 feet for the principal structure versus the minimum required 20 feet, and preliminary and final plat of subdivision approval in accordance with Section 10-6-3 with 8 conditions. The vote was 10 ayes, 1 absent.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any questions? Trustee Stanton.
I'm kind of concerned regarding the turn radiuses on this property for any of our village vehicles, or any vehicle for that matter that has any length, as to getting into the property and being able to navigate it. I also have concerns regarding where the dumpster is. And I'm assuming that if there ever were an agreement with the other property owner, that would be exactly where the street would be to connect the two of them together.
The, on the plat, I think there's 2 dotted lines in towards the back to go into Mariano's.
I don't think I have the right one here in front of me. This is the old one.
And we were assured that this had been reviewed for the turn radiuses.
Sorry. Where would the connection be? Oh, so if there were a connection, it's going to be taking out the parking that's there?
Yes,
And how many spots would that take out then, 4 or 5?
it all depends on what the agreement is, but if there's cross-access, they would also probably be able to use Mariano's parking lot in the rear, too.
Okay. And so the garbage spot here is going to stay the garbage spot, that's not going to be a street whatsoever?
No,
And that was one of my concerns, that was going to be the connection and where they would meet up. I still have concerns regarding the radius. Has the fire department checked this out?
that was my understanding, of somebody from staff, yeah.
Yes, and as I understand it, they have checked it out and signed off on it. If they had not been happy with it, we would have added a condition or changed the designed to accommodate them.
Yeah, the plan I've got shows the trucks going over, if there's going to be a meridian there for right turn in, right turn out. And they would have to be going over the embankment. At least that's the plan I have. Is that, anything changed on that?
Need to come up to the microphone, chief.
Oh, here it is.
Plan sheet are you referring to, trustee Stanton?
I can show you the plan. There's actually two of them. One of them is even worse as far as making a turn in and out. They're small little plans like this, Mark.
What is the sheet number in the lower right-hand corner?
SU 40 exhibit.
He said SU 40.
And there's also another one called the fire truck turning exhibit.
Fire truck turning exhibit?
I think it's a small one.
I mean, the way it looks, it makes it look like they're going to be bumping into cars once they get in here. Going over the, on Barrington Road, the border for the right turn in, right turn out. On SU 40, it looks like they'll be totally bumping into the middle of the meridian.
Gentlemen, what's the story here?
When the Fire Prevention Bureau reviewed this, we did go over and look at the turning radiuses, and it does comply with the turning radiuses to get in and out. Because of the size of the parking lot and its proximity to the buildings, proximity to the roadway, and the additional parking lot, from an operational perspective, we didn't feel it would be necessary to have more than one vehicle in the lot. And if we needed to bring a larger vehicle, as like the tower ladder or something like that, the access from the adjacent parking lots in the roadway would have been more than sufficient. We had coverage to the structure on more than 3 sides, so we were comfortable with the radiuses available.
Thank you. What about a garbage truck? How would they come in? Would it be off Gulf Road on a right turn in and then make a back up into the garbage? Otherwise, I'm afraid that they are going to also have problems getting through the parking lot.
If the fire truck can get through the lot, the garbage truck can get through the lot.
That's a dual axle.
Easily?
They're-
That's the question that
That's-
trustee Stanton is
The
looking at.
turning
How
radius of a
easy
garbage
is
truck
to do
is going
this?
to be much better than that of the tower ladder, and the diagram you see is actually the turning radius of our tower ladder. So they're going to have a much better ability to maneuver through that parking lot.
Now, are we going to have deliveries here? We don't know yet.
We don't know who the occupants will be.
I mean, deliveries are, I don't know where there's going to be deliveries at. There doesn't seem to be any docks or anything like that either.
No, they'd have to be in the front. I already asked that question.
Deliveries are typically through the smaller box trucks, and they typically just pull up, unload. You see it just down the street on Hassel Road at the convenience store, where they'll just pull in, and they're there for 5 minutes, and then they're gone.
Yeah,
That's
I
typical
mean,
of
I've
this.
seen them at Valley, and they're not there for 5 minutes, they're there for an hour, and they're blocking traffic half the time.
And that would be the case probably at a grocery store, but I don't see this type of small retail spaces having the longer duration deliveries.
I guess it depends on what comes in. Anyway. And Mr. Heidner, do you have any idea as to who might come in yet?
Can you come up to the microphone, Mr. Ryder?
It'll be a smaller retail. It won't be anything like a grocery store.
Well, I wouldn't think so for that size of building, unless you're going to make it all one building instead of
Plus, I own the
5
one
separate
across the
ones.
street, so
Yeah.
that wouldn't help.
Do you have any tenants yet marked out for that?
The only thing I have is a maze that's interested in this space, and we don't have any other tenants. I wasn't really marketing until I got everything approved, for the site. 'Cause
Okay.
we still need the 7C.
Yeah, that's in the works.
Correct.
That's it for me for now.
Okay, trustee Mills.
The landscaping on the east wall of the building, are we going to have some type of a visual there? How high are they going to be or that? Because otherwise, you're going to be looking at a brick wall as you're coming in, as you're going westbound on Gulf. I was trying to tell what that was there.
It shows, I believe there'd be like smaller bushes.
Okay.
And it is all brick. It's not cinder block or even
And there won't be any signage put on the back of that building at all?
not on the back of that building, no.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice if there was a little bit of a visual contrast there to cover up the wall a little bit, if at all possible. That would be the only thing. And then the other question, and I guess this would go more to staff too, are we going to have a no left turn sign over by that exit onto Barrington Road? It was required when this was approved as a gas station many years ago. I don't know if it still existed or not, but there was supposed to be a no left turn sign there.
So there's a full medium there. You can't cross
Okay,
over. and-
all right.
and
I've
the-
seen cars try to do it, so that's why I was just curious. You just want to, we want to make sure that there's no problem.
The full curb
Is it now? Okay.
on Barrington Road and on
Okay.
Gulf.
Okay, all right, that's good then. Yeah, I was concerned a little bit on the delivery trucks too, and where they would be parking and blocking parking stalls.
Pretty much have this everywhere, on almost every center I own.
Okay.
They're mostly all smaller corners like this where
Okay.
they have retail, and we really don't ever have any
I guess
truck
we're-
parking in the back.
I guess we're just a little used to some of them where they have some delivery aisles in the back of the building too, which this does not.
If we did, there probably couldn't be a building there.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We do have a motion, a second. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Yeah, I'm on the border here, but I'll say aye.
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by 2595 West Gulf LLC, owner for master sign plan approval in accordance with Section 9-3-8-M-13 for the property located at 2595 West Gulf Road. Vote was 10 ayes, 1 absent.
Chair will accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any questions on this item? See no questions, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson Combs. Move on to 8, additional business. Item A, request board approve of an ordinance amending section 6-2-1-HE-11-1401 pedestrian solicitation of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code. This we need to table this evening. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. That's tabled. Okay, move on to 8B, request board approval of a resolution supporting a Cook County Class 7C classification application for property tax assessment purposes for the site located at southeast corner of Gulf Road and Barrington Road. This item was deferred on August 19th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any questions on this item? See no questions, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 8C. Request board approval to 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, award contract for a 2019 all-aluminum 12-foot walk-around responder body rescue vehicle for the Fire Department to Maintenance Corporation of Iowa, Sheldon, Iowa, in an amount not to exceed $185,000.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any discussion on this one? This was reviewed earlier in committee. Seeing no discussion, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Chairs accept a motion to adjourn to executive session for which purposes, Trustee Mills?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn into executive session for the purposes of litigation, 5 ILCS 120/2C11, and collective bargaining, 5 ILCS 120/2C2.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing no discussion, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We are adjourned to executive session, and we will not be coming back this evening. Open session. Thank you.